Back home, we are still focused on the northern rivers. For most of the country, the horror of the February floods that devastated that part of the state is fading away. But for the people who live in the New South Wales town of Woodburn, it's an ongoing nightmare. Some are moving back into their flood-damaged homes, but others are still without and are forced to camp. Sky News reporter Georgia Simpson has this special report.
It's nighttime in Woodburn and a wintry chill is in the air.
This particular campsite's been home for almost 2 weeks now. Before that we were in Broadwater for 4 weeks, and before that was 2 weeks in Evans Head.
Gypsy and her kids give the word resilient a whole new meaning. They lost everything that they have ever owned in the February and March floods. Kind strangers helped her buy this caravan, a small semblance of home.
It is warm and dry when it's all closed up, which I'm grateful for. I'm really grateful for, especially when we've got crazy weather like we have at the moment. The wind and the rain.
It's a tight squeeze for the whole family.
Yes.
The kids are desperate for their own space. When the weather allows, they camp next door in a tent. Huddling around a fire provides some warmth. Gypsy has rent and bond ready to go. The problem is there's nowhere to rent.
I know I'm not the only one out here. There's so many people in tents right now, and that's why I'm agreed to do these interviews to bring light to the situation, because not a lot of people want to show their faces. They're too embarrassed, they're too ashamed, they're too depressed and just way too sad.
The one thing that helps keep her sane is the Woodburn hub.
234,000 donated.
And that's why I contribute back by cooking for the community, because I don't have any money. The only thing I can do is feed everybody. And when you've got a full belly, you've got a happy person.
Jordy Wade is the hub coordinator, and 11 weeks on, he's as busy as ever. Most goods and services are still hard to come by in Woodburn. Over the course of any given week, more than 1,000 people come through the doors.
We've got people living in tents, we've got elderly sleeping on the floors of their homes with no walls. We've got young families that are doing it really tough, and we're now in winter.
Donations have started to dwindle, and the hub needs just as much support now as when the floods first hit.
Essentials, so it's things like food, water, cleaning supplies, camping gear, hardware and tools and things like that.
Warm clothes, bedding and heaters are also desperately needed.
I'm overwhelmed every day because I can't give people what they need all the time.
More than 10,000 people are homeless across the Richmond Valley Shire, which takes in the small towns of Corrakai, Casino and Woodburn. In Woodburn, only 6 houses weren't impacted by floodwaters. For Paul, the disaster is still so surreal.
Three months on, I still look out here and think, really? Like, there was that much water?
You've got to see it to believe it.
Every day I walk around here, I think one day we're getting somewhere, and then I have a look around and it's like 10 other things pop into your head.
Prior to the floods, Paul and his wife decided to rent out their family home. Elise and her husband moved in with 4 kids and 2 dogs in tow. When the floods hit, they prepared for what they thought would be the worst and then hoped for the best. The young family evacuated as a precaution. While Paul went to the house expecting to mop up water at most, he ended up being rescued by a tinny the next morning.
We get a call from Paul saying, look mate, it's not looking good. I'm getting out. I've got a boat coming for me. And that's when we knew everything was gone.
Now the family of 6 is crammed into a tiny 2-bedroom unit, waiting and even helping Paul with the rebuild. But finding tradespeople and supplies in the area is almost impossible. The town needs an army of builders, plumbers and electricians. It all means it will take years, not months, for Woodburn to rebuild.
I just fear for people that are moving back into their properties because they have no choice. And the black mould that's coming through, that stuff kills you.
All this happening here in the lucky country. Georgia Simpson, Sky News.